Will Salmon is reporting within the last minute the Mets and Bo Bichette are in agreement on a 3-year deal.
I called it!
You nailed it.
I called it! Yes!
No.
I told you, Stearns, listen! Yes!
Wow.
All right! My guy! I'm glad I pivoted before it happened. All right?
That is solid.
And
That was your 11 o'clock pivot.
Well, by the way, it was more like my 8 a.m. pivot because I did it on the Rico.
But sometimes whatever. Some of the Rico listeners didn't hear it.
The New York Mets.
Because they were expecting it last night.
That's right. The New York Mets and Bo Bichette have agreed to a 3-year deal. And there's so much fascinating stuff from this based on our discussion from an hour ago. Number one, the positions. I immediately said, here's my plan. I'd put Bo at third base. I'd consider him in the outfield with Brett Beatty moving to first base or left field. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what the Met plan is.
Right.
And also, how much money are they paying him? The Phillies. Hold on. Sean, you'll like this. Hey, Philly. How'd that meeting go with Bo Bichette? You losers.
Right.
Remember that meeting?
Right.
You were so excited.
So now this does bring up the question, what does the deal look like? And what was Philly offering? I don't remember if they ever got reported.
Screw him. He doesn't want to go there.
No, but I'm just wondering if they dodgered the Phillies.
Did we dodger the Phillies?
I have the money.
You have the money.
Before you tell me, I want to guess. So I was saying to you, huge money AAV.
Yep.
And I think I said 40. Did I say 40 to you?
You did say 40.
So I'm going to go with a huge AAV of 3 years, $40 million a year, and I'm thinking an opt-out after.
So 3 years, 120, opt out after the second year.
After the second year, yeah, because I think they'd want him on at least 2 years.
48 seconds ago from Jeff Passan, Bo Bichette and the Mets are in agreement on a 3-year, $126 million contract.
Dude, I freaking nailed it.
We don't have any word on opt-out.
So it's more than 40 a year.
Right.
It's about 41, 42 a year.
Wow.
I got to tell you, rewind to 11 o'clock.
Dude, now we got to figure out what Philly was offering and see if the Mets were starting to do what the Dodgers did.
Oh, they absolutely did, because I think what the Phillies were probably offering was a long-term deal at $30 million a year, which is probably what his market said.
Yep.
And I think Bo Bichette got sold on exactly what I was selling at 11 and selling to Kyle Tucker.
Right, at 27 years old, he's going to get another deal.
Yes, and free agent market sucks for the next couple of years. Really, really unfortunate. I was looking forward to that John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin debate, but maybe we can save that for later on. That is a pivot, and it's the pivot I wanted, and it changes the complexion of this lineup. I think it changes the complexion of the offseason.
It complicates it, but it changes it.
Yes.
Where else can Polanco play?
Well, Polanco can play all the way in the infield, but right now the Mets are very set in the infield because Marcus Semion's your second baseman. Lindor is your shortstop. The openings right now are first base, third base, DH clearly, and left field.
Right.
So could any of those guys play left field? Who's going to play first base? Like, there's a lot of weird defensive options. And look, the pushback you put on me when I brought this up an hour ago was, hey, you guys talked so much about
run prevention,
and now you're going to have all these guys out of position. That was certainly Sean's argument back at me. And my point was, first of all, I think these guys are athletic.
Of course.
So I think they
they all grew up as shortstops, and they played everywhere.
Right.
And did everything. So you couldn't do it. But what you've become professional at is being an infielder.
Yeah. But also, they needed to upgrade this offense. Like, they lost a lot of production, and quite frankly, they still have lost a lot of production with losing Pete Alonso. I don't want to make it out like, oh, everything's fine, but they closed the gap in terms of replacing what they lost with a player in Bichette who's very different than Pete Alonso. He hits for a much higher batting average.
Yep,
He
311 last year.
Does not hit for as much power, strikes out a little bit less. He's more athletic, obviously very different defensively, but he's that right-hand hitter that this lineup surely needs.
Right.
So he's not the same as Pete, just like Kyle Tucker wasn't the same as Pete.
He's a different kind of player, a valuable player. Sean, the WRC plus on him versus Stephen Kwan, 134.
Wow, okay.
That means he's 34% better than everybody else. So, ask me how I'm feeling, Tiki.
No, you should be feeling great.
I'm excited.
Because there's a pivot. The pivot happened.
Yes, and it happened very quickly.
And it happened immediately, basically.
And they followed the script, which is, as much as we may disagree with it, and that's irrelevant at this point, about long-term deals versus short-term deals, if you're going to play in this marketplace, if you're going to play in the place of we're only going short-term deals, you got to pay up with enormous average annual salaries. You got to do it.
And we like it because he took an invaluable part of Toronto's roster last year.
Well, he took
out of the American League.
And he didn't go to Philly. I had to take that arrogant call an hour ago saying no one wants to play for the Mets, and my response was, wait a second, no one wants to play for the Mets if they're competing with the Dodgers.
Yes.
But do you want to play for the Mets if you're competing with Philadelphia?
Yes.
And clearly the answer is, yeah. Bo Bichette couldn't wait to get out of that stupid city.
And it's interesting. Excellent pivot for the Mets with Bo Bichette. They get a legitimate right-handed bat, something they desperately needed. Look, they tried to bolster the lineup with Tucker. Didn't work out. We know the reasons why. Now they immediately had a plan. Turned to Bo Bichette. Short-term deal. No long-term commitment. He's going to play third for him, so you don't have to worry about his defense being a big issue over there. Mets weren't good at third base anyway with Vientos or even Beatty. They'll figure out what to do with Beatty. Maybe they move him to the outfield. I don't love that idea. But it's about Bo Bichette right now. It's about the aggression from the Mets. Everybody doubts. I don't know why people are doubting Steve Cohen and David Stearns. All they've done is spend. Now, you want to talk about spend wisely? Could have been better maybe over the years, but Steve Cohen has spent since the second that he arrived here. You know he's going to do everything he can to build a winner. Some guys take the money, some guys don't. Bo Bichette is taking the Mets' money, not going to the Phillies. So the Mets take him away from the Phillies, and they bolster their lineup. He's going to be their third baseman for at least a year. You know, with the opt-outs, whatever, man. I'm not concerned about that. As I said, they need a legitimate bat. I think Met fans are going to, you know what? Maybe this turns out to be an even better move than it would have been if they got Kyle Tucker. I think Met fans are going to love Bo Bichette when all's said and done.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere, okay, the Mets decide that they are in on Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette, right? Out of nowhere. And to me, here's what really went down. The fan base is in an uproar, and rightfully so, for what Stevie Cohen allowed David Stearns to do, to destroy our baseball team, to let an iconic Met in Pete Alonso walk away unceremoniously without even talking to him, to let Edwin Diaz walk to the freaking Dodgers, okay? And there should be an investigation about the Dodgers. Really. That's a whole other story. You remember they used to get on Steinbrenner for spending all this money and trying to buy a championship and on and on? Where's the uproar over the Dodgers, who just gave Kyle Tucker $60 million a year? Where's that? Right? But the bottom line is the Met fans are deliriously ticked off. Because what have we gotten here? Nothing. You let Pete walk. You let Diaz walk. You trade Nimmo for an over-the-hill second baseman that's 3 years older than him and not even close to being as good as him offensively. You know, you trade Jeff McNeil because we got to get rid of him too. And then finally, after, here we are mid-January, when this team is giving you Devin Williams for 3 years and $51 million. Aren't you excited about that? Can you believe, Met fans, that Devin Williams is on our team and Pete Alonso is not? Right? Devin Williams. They brought in Jorge Polanco. This kills me too. Right? I heard Pete talking about Hoffman. So the genius Stearns, right? Mr. Genius, smartest guy in the room. I went to Harvard. What do you know? Right? Genius that he is. He's selling run prevention, right? This was his big sell. Well, we had to let Pete go because he's not good defensively at first base. He's not Keith Hernandez or Don Mattingly at first base. We gotta get him out. We're selling run prevention. How do you sell run prevention to the Met fan when A, you let the best closer in baseball walk away for like $3 million, no less, right? Okay, they couldn't go the extra mile for him. Oh, why would they, right? So you let the best closer in baseball go. Then they signed Jorge Polanco, who's never played first base, but he's going to play first base now. No problem. And then, I really like the Bo Bichette signing. Don't get me wrong. Good signing. Like it, okay? No question about it. Like it a lot. I don't know if he's worth $42 million a year, but if I was Aaron Judge, I would be talking to the Yankees now. Where's my $80 million per, But anyway, I like the Bo Bichette signing, but he's going to play third base. Oh, he's never played third. What? So here's Stearns, right? Boy genius, don't forget, he's smarter than anybody. He's preaching run prevention, but he lets the best closer in baseball go and makes the closer one of the all-time stiffs that ever lived in Devin Williams. And he's going to have a guy play first who never played first, and he's going to have a guy play third who never played third. Run prevention. What BS. Really. What a joke. Met fans, I can't wait. I'm telling you, and I've said this before, and I think the Mets should be a decent team this year. I don't know what the pitching is going to be. You know, I don't know what forget the starting rotation, because I think all the young kids are going to be in the starting rotation. What's the bullpen going to be? Devin Williams is the closer. What? Oh, yeah, they signed that guy Weaver from the Yankees. I'm supposed to be excited about him, right? Supposed to get pumped up. Anyway, run prevention. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But again, let's get back to this again, right? With all that crap. So, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Mets are doing nothing, right? Oh, we can't give anybody more than a 3-year contract. Oh, we can't do this. We can't, we got to let Pete go. All of this. All of a sudden, Stevie Cohen says, wait a minute. The fan base is ticked off. Everybody's aggravated. Nobody's happy. We're not even close to being the team we were last year. Look at what we got on paper here. Not even close. We better do something. All of a sudden, they're in on Kyle Tucker. All of a sudden, out of nowhere. They're offering him $50 million a year. $50 million. They couldn't play Pete. This idea, and I've heard this all over the place too, that Kyle Tucker is a better player than Alonso is nonsense. Why? Because his WAR was high. His WAR was high. The great song by Edwin Starr, War, What Is It Good For? Springsteen covered it later on. And that's exactly it. What is it good for? Nothing. It's just one of these new wave, I'm smarter than you, the typical, young GM, went to Harvard, went to Princeton, went to Yale, went to Brown. Better watch out if you're going to Brown. Went to all these Ivy League places, and they know better. They're smarter than you. Batting average doesn't mean anything. RBIs don't mean anything. Means nothing. Wins don't mean anything. It's a joke. What's the exit velo? What's your spin rate? What's your WAR? What's your OPS? On and on and on and on. I can't stand it. And that's what Stearns is. I would sign for a bad year. And I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to be at least decent now. At least. The lineup shouldn't be too bad when you got, Lindor, Soto, and Bichette at the top of the lineup. All right? Polanco, I guess, can hit. But I would sign for a terrible year just to get Stearns out of here. And I'll never forgive Steve Cohen and David Stearns for letting Pete Alonso walk. I'll never, ever forgive them for that. Just like I've never forgave M. Donald Grant and Joe McDonald for the Seaver trade. Just like I've never forgiven Frank Cashin for destroying the 86 championship team, specifically letting Strawberry walk. I will never forgive Uncle Stevie. I don't care if he wins 4 championships. I will never forgive him for letting Pete Alonso walk out the door, an iconic Met. And that's on him, and that's on the genius who never liked him. And I've heard rumors that he didn't. I don't think anybody likes Stearns. I've heard rumors Alonso couldn't stand Stearns, and I understand. I probably nobody in the room likes him. He doesn't exactly look like Mr. Personality, I can tell you that. Unbelievable. So now all of a sudden, when everything is falling apart and the team looks like crap, right? The team looks like the 4th best team in the division. I mean, maybe they're ahead of Washington. All of a sudden, Cohen says, wow, I better step in here. I better do something because we look terrible right now. But it's all crap. You know what? Again, no, I got to go back. There's this idea of run prevention. Come on. How about David Stearns showing some balls? How about it, David? You all right? Show us some gallones and get your ass in front of the media, in front of the fan base, and explain to them why you let Pete Alonso walk and why you are preaching run prevention, but you let the best closer in baseball walk, and you got a guy playing first and a guy playing third who never played the position before, but we are pushing run prevention. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. I have such, and then there's other things that are at work here too with the Mets. All right? This whole thing, and I don't want to get into it too, all I'm going to say is, the fact that, the Francisco Lindor's wife is working for the mayor of New York City. I'll just say that. I don't know what I think about that, but we'll leave that alone. We'll just throw it out there. So I got a lot of mixed feelings about what's going on, and a lot of, geez, why is Nimmo and Pete and McNeil really gone? Right? I think about that too. I think about these things. And it's so funny. I mean, we didn't even hear anything about Bichette, right? Did we even hear a peep about the Mets being interested in Bo Bichette? And again, I love the signing. Don't get me wrong. He shouldn't be getting $42 million a year, but I like the signing is what it is. I like it. He's a real player, okay? He's an actual winning player. I like him. Got great bloodlines. His father, Dante Bichette, all of that. Love it. But it really is, all of a sudden, where did it come from? And I heard one of these guys, I was watching MLB yesterday. This guy, what's his name? Will Salmon? Is that the guy's name? I think he covers the Mets for one of these, one of the many different sports things that are out there, whatever it is. And he's saying how the Mets were actually had talked to him like months ago. Really? Why did we never hear about that? Why? And why all of a sudden are they interested in Kyle Tucker? And we'll see. Maybe I've heard still that they're in on Bellinger. What are the Yankees doing? How have the Yankees not signed Cody Bellinger? How? I don't get that either. But that's their problem. It doesn't matter. They'll still win their 93 games or so, and the fan base will scream if they don't win the World Series. Oh, we won 93 for the 12th year in a row. I can't take it. Right? You should be rooting for my team. I love those Yankee fans. The most spoiled group in the history of mankind. I'm sorry, guys. No offense to the Yankee fans out there, but let's be real. You guys are as spoiled as could possibly be. All right? But I don't get it. I don't get how Cody Bellinger is not, with the Yankees now. And I guess the Mets are still on him. Are they going to sign him too? Are they going to sign a pitcher? Are they going to bring Frambar out? They lost Suarez to the Red Sox. Are they going to bring Frambar in? I'd bring him in. Why not? It's pretty good. All of a sudden, it's so funny. All of a sudden, the Mets are alive. What a disgrace.